Hey there, you're listening to the Fave Self CEO podcast. I'm Kayla, a confidence coach, professional speaker, and your guide to becoming your fave version of yourself. And today we're talking all about habits, but not those rigid, like morning routine on steroids kind. We're talking about the simple, grounding, feel-good rhythms that I've been picking up ever since I moved out here to the country and why I think they're finally sticking and then how they can help you as well. So let's get into it. Because I've noticed lately that things have been really simple, super simple. Like that's the country, quiet, slow living way of life, right? And honestly, I think that that's why things have been working really well for me lately. And this morning, as I was flipping my classic tractors calendar to August, it's a Ford, it's beautiful, it hit me just how quickly this summer is going by. Like it is flying by. And yes, obviously, if you've been following along with me, it probably moved pretty fast for me because I was packing and moving and cleaning and organizing and setting up my life all of June. That's when I left the city for my country acreage. But July passed really quickly too. And I didn't do anything big or special during July. Like it seems like, boom, it just passed in the blink of an eye. And I was realizing as I was putting the coffee on that maybe July moved so quickly because it felt a bit mundane. And I want you to stick with me here. Because I'm not talking mundane in like a negative, oh my gosh, I'm in a rut kind of way. That's where I was when I started the Fave Self experiment earlier this year. But I'm talking the kind of mundane that feels comfortable, right? And I'm actually really loving the mundane days where I'm doing simple things and I'm doing the same simple things over and over and over again. And I've gotten into this new routine that just feels freaking amazing, right? Like I picked up a handful of habits over the last 2 months that I absolutely love. And I'm finding massive comfort and peace in doing them each and every day. And every single one of them is getting me closer to my fave self, who I want to be and how I want to live. Now, obviously, going from like a city lifestyle that was very busy, it was packed with events, outings, networking. My friends are all in this city. I was always going somewhere. That was very fast paced. Moving to the country in the middle of the summer, things are just naturally slower here, right? They're more peaceful. That was obviously a big change. And that led to a big change in my habits. So they shifted to a much slower, much more peaceful pace. I feel like I'm going to say peaceful a lot, but I don't really know a better word than it just feels simple, and simple in a positive way, simple and peaceful. And even the way that these habits came about was so natural. Like it was so peaceful, like organic. That's a good word. It was so natural, so organic. And I can't help but feel that that's why they feel so comfortable and that's why they're so doable. And why I've been able to be so consistent with them over a month now, most of them almost 2 months now. They've become my second nature. They're just me. Like I don't have to think about them. They are my behavior. Like they are who I am. It's just the same as when I brush my teeth or feed the dog. Like I don't think about it. It's something I do every single day. Well, that's what these habits are now. And I want to share some of them with you in case you'd like to borrow one, in case you'd like to build off of one, but also, and maybe more importantly, to show you that everybody's habits and routines can look completely different from one another. And your habits and routines can look completely different from a month ago, from a week ago, right? The one thing that I do believe, in my experience anyway, should be, well, I don't want to say should, I don't really like that word, but your habits should work for you. You should enjoy doing them. That's what makes them sustainable. And that's what life is really all about. I mean, yes, we all have to do things we don't love, dentist appointments, paying taxes. Yeah. We all know that. But the majority of your life is actually in your control. And you should spend your time doing what you want to do with this one life that you have that we know of, the one life that you're in right now, right? So for the habits I'm loving, the first thing started really naturally for me. And that was just waking up earlier, which has given me more peace. Ooh, my favorite word, apparently, ease. And just a foundation to start my day exactly how I want to. And I know this isn't groundbreaking. Absolutely not. A lot of people do this. A lot of people swear by it. We got the 5 a.m. club types, the busy mamas who need that 30 minutes of quiet before the day starts, the really spiritual folks who meditate or do yoga with the sunrise for hours. Like this is nothing new. Waking up early, it's like the number one thing people give you. Wake up early and drink water. The number two pieces of advice people give you for everything. Nothing new. But at the same time, like this feels really groundbreaking to me. And it came about for me in a really gentle, natural way, which helped a lot too. So if you listened to my last episode or read my last blog post, I talked about hanging curtains and how it was like this big struggle for me, and I overcame it, and go me, and I'm very proud of myself. So for the first month and a half that I lived in this house, I had no curtains, and I have two big bedroom windows. So when the sun rose between 5:30 and 6, so did I. And that just became my rhythm. And I am country, I am backwoods, I am pretty redneck, but the one thing I will not do in this house is hang sheets in the windows as curtains. No shame, no shade to anybody who does it. My mama's neighbors do it. Lots of folks do it. I grew up doing it, but it is the one thing that I'm like, I got to draw the line somewhere, my friends. And that's where the line is. I'm not hanging sheets in the windows. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, 100%. But for me, I just chose to get up with the sunrise when it came up through those naked windows. So when I finally bought curtains, back to the story, I picked these really beautiful linen ones that I love so much. And I purposely chose not to get light blocking ones because I want to continue waking up with the sun. And yeah, I know it'll be different in the wintertime and the fall time, but for right now, this feels good. And it actually kind of surprises me that it feels natural. But it does. And that's been the first habit I've absolutely loved. And I intentionally made choices to keep with that habit. So I guess the takeaway here would be if something is happening in your daily routine, just naturally that you really like, keep it, see if you like it. And if you think it's sustainable and you really like it, do what you can do to keep it in your routine. All right. My second habit is walking. Right? I feel like that's the third thing everybody says. Wake up early, drink your water, walk. Again, not groundbreaking, but absolutely mind clearing and gut supporting for me, which kind of surprised me as well. And I know that everybody, from like the Huberman Lab podcast to Mel Robbins says the same thing. Get up early, go for a walk, get the light on your eyeball, support your circadian rhythm. Yeah, I've always known that. I've always heard that. But this one was really hard for me when I lived in the city. Getting up early, not such a hard thing because it was really noisy all the time. So you kind of got up early from that. But walking in the city was not that peaceful for me. And mind you, like I am a country bumpkin at heart. Like I never felt 100% comfortable in the city. So that's probably a me thing. That's a Kayla thing. But I also lived in a really busy area, which was also not the safest. So I was either dealing with traffic and exhaust and noise, which was just gross and stressed me out and stressed the dog out, or I was constantly checking over my shoulder, keeping an eye on the less savory folks that were still lingering out and about from the night before. And sometimes like I'd get home from the walk and I would feel more stressed out than when I left. It was not always a great situation. But here in the country, just throw a leash on Todd, I throw on my sneakers and I just go, right? I can wear whatever I want. I can walk wherever I want. It is, I'm going to say peaceful again. It's peaceful. The air is fresh. The sun's coming up. The fields are glowing. The birds are chirping. The crickets are singing. It is so beautiful. And that one walk just makes a world of difference to me. Now, that's the mind clearing part. That's honestly where I get my best ideas, is when I walk in the morning. But the also thing about walking, when I said it was gut supporting for me, is not only do I walk first thing in the morning, but I've also started walking after every single meal and snack. Every time I eat, I get up and I spend 5 or 10 minutes just walking around my property with the dog. And I heard this on a podcast sometime while I was unpacking. I do follow and listen to quite a few fitness girlies. If you can hear some tic-tac-toes, I don't know if that picked it up. Still dealing with internet issues out in the country. So I actually am recording at my mama's right now. And I have a big old English bulldog, Ella, clicking around here. What was I saying? Few fitness girlies. I do follow them. So it was from one of their podcasts, but I'll link them all, their Instagrams in the show notes or their podcasts, so you can check them out if you want to. But walking directly after a meal, like not sitting there watching TV, not reading, like not talking to whoever you're with, actually getting out there and walking right after a meal helps with digestion and can lower your blood sugar. And I just think that's win-win. And I mean, I've got 10 acres here. So the dog and I just go for a walk after every meal and it's so amazing. And I don't know if it's a placebo effect. I don't know yet, but I think I've noticed a difference in my bloating and digestion, which is something that I do struggle with on and off. Just 5 to 10 minutes, take a walk after every meal. Even if you work in an office, if you have a workplace, just get up and move. You can go into the lunchroom, wash your dishes, take a walk around the building. You can go fill up your water bottle or your tumbler on another floor. And if you're like me, what I would now tell my past city self is to drive to a park. If your neighborhood stresses you out, or it's too loud, or it's too dirty, or it's too whatever, go to a park. Walk somewhere where it's quieter, calmer, and you can be in nature a little bit more. And then another habit, these all kind of go together. Another little AM habit that's been helping with my old bloating, weird gut situation is warm water and apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar. ACV. It sounds weird when I'm saying it out loud. Apple cider vinegar. First thing in the morning. And this one, I definitely remember where I got it from. I got this from Love Sweat Fitness. She's also known as Katie Dunlop. Has a YouTube, now has a podcast with her husband. Her Instagram's full of advice. I love her and have followed her for years, but I never really took much of her advice because I was always full of excuses and I just always said I was too busy to prioritize my health. But this one kind of stuck to me because I grew up in 90s diet culture, and I remember my mom and her friends and honestly, like even a couple teachers talking about taking shots of apple cider vinegar to lose weight. It was like the thing, right? Losing weight, apple cider vinegar. There were also some sort of raspberry pills everybody took. That was the thing. So when I heard apple cider vinegar again, I like perked right up and I was like, oh, okay, what? And when Katie explains like the why, she's like a sports nutritionist and she has all of her credentials. I am obviously not a doctor. I'm just trying some things on. She said that just a tablespoon in a warm glass of water, first thing you drink in the morning on an empty stomach, can really help rehydrate you, and it supports your digestion, and it just feels good, right? So I'm not taking it for weight loss. She doesn't say that it supports weight loss at all. She says it's for gut health, and that's my focus right now, is pretty much my health and my gut health. And I mean, yeah, it's a little bit harsh at first if you've ever had apple cider vinegar. It's it'll wake you up. But I really think you get used to it. I've gotten used to it. I don't even notice it anymore. I don't believe this to be a miracle cure whatsoever, but it does make me feel better. And that's kind of like my whole like ethos in life. If I'm not hurting myself and if I'm not hurting anybody else and it makes me feel good, I'm doing it 100%. All right. And then the last habit that's made a huge difference, and these are all kind of health related because that's where my focus is right now. And this is one that I never really expected to love, but I'm kind of really into it. And that's eating enough protein. Again, I'm not a health expert, not a dietitian, not a nutritionist, not a trainer, not a sports medicine, anything. I'm just a gal trying to become her fave self, trying to put her health first for the first time in a really long time, because I worked a ton and I had a really messed up schedule when I was on TV and radio. It was all over the place. It was bonkers. And then when I started my own company, I worked a ton and made a ton of excuses, had no schedule. I wouldn't eat sometimes until 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And I wasn't feeling all that great. Even when I moved here, I was sleeping better. I was less stressed. I was more peaceful, loved it, but I still felt a little drained. So I started exploring some things that might help. And I do, again, follow a lot of fitness girlies that I love. I love Sam Cutler. She created Mindful, which is a mindfulness eating app. Sam C. Fit, I'll take them all, on Instagram. Love her for her meal prep ideas. And of course, Katie Dunlop, I mentioned from Love Sweat Fitness. I love them all. And they all say the same thing, protein first. So now I'm trying to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And I feel incredible. I feel like I have more energy. I feel stronger. And the reason why this is important to me is because I want to keep up with the physical work I'm doing around the farm. I got a lot to do. That farm is fallen into some repair, let me tell you, or disrepair. I don't really know how the saying goes, but I am dedicated to restoring the farm property to its former glory. And that involves tractors and trucks and trailers and lots of physical hard work. So I want to feel strong in my body and capable. And when I do a big job or even a medium-sized job, I don't want to feel it for 4 days after, and then sit on the couch and not do anything for 4 days. That's not what I'm about. So I'm already noticing changes in my body and muscles. Plus, I love eating. And let me tell you, when you are trying to get 160 grams of protein, yes, I weigh 160 pounds right now. 160 grams of protein a day, you get to eat a lot of food. So I am not complaining about that whatsoever. I'm loving it. I just want to feel strong and healthy. I want to be able to do what I need to do without relying, on somebody else's muscles. I don't want to have to call my brother. I mean, I will if I need help. Yes. But I don't want to call my brother or, my best friend every time I need something done on the farm. I want to be able to do it myself, right? And as someone who's coached hundreds of women in building real confidence, I know that habit changes really only work when it feels like it's yours. Like it feels like something you want to do and something you can do. And I think that's why these habits have stuck. So getting up early, walking first thing in the morning and walking after every meal, taking my warm water with apple cider vinegar, and then eating a gram of protein per pound of my body weight. Again, not a doctor. This is just what works for me. Please do what works for you. If you're going to make any crazy changes with your diet, you know what to do. Consult the experts. Don't consult me. But I do these things and they've stuck and they're making me feel amazing because they're aligned with where I am, where I want to go, and what I want to do, right? I'm not looking at somebody else's perfect cold plunge at 5 a.m. routine. I'm not looking at what some influencer says I should do, even though, yes, I follow a lot of fitness girlies. I can still watch their stuff, but I take what I want and I take what might work for me and I leave the rest. And I feel like that's pretty healthy. And these are habits that I just naturally fell into or I heard about. They feel good and that's why they're sustainable. So even though I've been sharing my new habits with you, what I really want to get through in this podcast is looking at really three things. Where you are right now and be really honest, like your time, your energy, your work, your lifestyle, your season. Where are you right now? Number 2 is where you want to be, like just in the next 6 months. I'm doing goals right now because I'm going to work as hard as I can through the summer and fall to do as much as I can around the property before winter hits. And then when winter hits, I'm going to be inside working on the house on the inside. So I just looked ahead to the next 6 months, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. I don't know where I'm going to be. I'm not planning for that far in advance. Just take a look at where you want to be in the next 6 months, what your fave version of you looks like in 6 months. And then the third thing is, what do you like? Like what already feels good? Don't overthink it. Don't aim for perfection. Just pick what fits. And I did do an episode last year, I think it was last year, about morning habits and looking back through my journals and everything like that. I can see how much they've evolved. If you want to give it a listen, I will link it in the show notes as well. But I think this is just a great reminder that you are always changing and your habits are going to change and evolve with you. You don't need to be so rigid. You don't need to be so perfect. You just need to pay attention to where you are, where you want to be, and what feels good. And then give yourself grace and give yourself the freedom to try some things on. You don't need a perfect morning routine. You just need one that doesn't make you resent your own life. Even if you're, waking. I don't wake up every day and want to go for a walk first thing in the morning. I will tell you that. It doesn't always happen. Some days I do just want to lay in bed. And some days I do skip the vinegar drink. Some days I take a shorter walk. Some days I eat at my laptop and I don't walk until later because I've got meeting after meeting after meeting. I don't beat myself up about it. I just flow. Not every day is 100% of the things 100% of the time. Because I used to think that becoming my best self or my fave self or my ideal self meant doing everything perfectly every day, no exceptions. But no. My fave self, she moves with the seasons and she gives herself grace and she builds a life that feels like hers. It's all about freedom. That's what I want. The freedom to do what I want, when I want, and what feels good. Because it is really freaking tempting to compare yourself to influencers with perfect routines and perfect bodies. They've got these perfect homes, these perfect partners, these perfect kids. But if you stop trying to be them and you start becoming your fave version of you, you will become your best self by default because you'll be someone who's truly happy, truly fulfilled, truly living a life that feels like hers from the inside out. At least for now, that's what I'm going with. That's what's working for me. And that's what I'm rolling with. But again, I give myself the freedom to switch things up. And I want to say one more time, just to be safe, not a doctor at all. No medical health, anything. I'm just a gal sharing what's been feeling really good for me lately. I want you to always do what works best for your body and your season. And I'd love to know what habits are actually working for you right now. Because I feel like that's how we learn, is by sharing with one another, right? What are you loving? Not because it's trendy, but because it feels like you. Because remember, the habits that stick are the ones that feel like you. So that's it. I feel like I've been jabbing my jaws for 20 minutes now. That's all I got to say for today's episode. I hope it gave you permission to slow down, just check in, and choose habits that actually feel like yours. And again, if something resonated with you, please feel free to share your habits, your routines, your advice, your tips, your tricks. You can also share the episode. You can tag me over on Instagram. I'm there at Fave Self CEO or at Fave Self CEO Podcast. Let me know what habits are helping you feel more like your fave self right now. And please tell me, at least this weekend, you're going to go do something that feels good and true for you. All right. I'll talk to you soon.